I saw an automobile once when I was a kid, but now they're everywhere.
Little Genesis for you. Glorious morning roundup. Part of guitar octo resliced to be even better. Chucky can finally done. We've got our alley scope. And in one of the greatest comebacks in history, oh yeah, we're sharking it up with the printer that could not live. I also resliced it and improved the slicer to be faster and to print better, and it seems to be doing that job. Came out real nice, and maybe we'll... No, we gotta ship this out really fast. I was gonna say maybe we'll do the color shift on this, but customer's waiting on this guy. Another Sharky. D20 coming along nice, and I just figured something out about this printer. This will just randomly turn off sometimes, this bed heater. And that may be why the guy sold it to me. We'll fidget with it a bit, but yeah, I think it had something to do with this layer shift because it's totally cool. So that's not good. Also, this night is just taking forever. We are going to ship off the ice cream. This lady has sent me, I think, literally 8 messages. It's crazy. It makes me want to cancel the order because people that do that are the people that complain. But she hasn't really said anything bad or been, she hasn't been abrasive. She's just a person that really wants her item to be shipped. This may be one of those things I look back on and I tell myself, you should have canceled her order. Try not to sell to people like that. But she really hasn't done anything to deserve that quite yet. She's just very anxious. Oh yeah, this lady also initially thought the ice cream was made of porcelain, and then I mentioned it's 3D printing, and then she was just like, oh, 3D printing. See, that's not a red flag, but that's like half a red flag. Like a person that thinks that they can buy for $100 a big porcelain ice cream cone. There's like several half red flags. And if she hadn't spent so much money, maybe I just would cancel it. Maybe I should just cancel it. But you know what? I'm going against my better judgment here. I'm betting that the fact that she's messaged me so many times means that she's not going to just automatically leave a bad review. If she's unhappy, she'll message me and then I'll refund her. And I'll be out shipping and materials, but that's less bad than actually getting a bad review. That's my actual mental thought process. Also, we'll write her a handwritten card just to baby her a little bit. I kind of hate to say stuff like that, but sometimes customers, you know, they can be difficult to work with. You just got to go the extra mile sometimes. Maybe she's just really excited. I could be misinterpreting this whole thing. Like, there are definite red flags where I would cancel a person's order. She just hasn't quite done any of those things. So we believe in innocent until proven guilty here in America. Really, you know, I'm sure some of you Etsy sellers out here can back me up on this. It can be very hard to distinguish between enthusiasm and like somebody that's just a complainer. So we're gonna choose to think that she's just really enthusiastic. And to be fair, I could kind of interpret what she's said so far as that. Maybe a little autism is in the mix too, just saying. All right, let's take this off. There we go. Who could be displeased with that? Just a pleasant ice cream cone. A delicious cheese pizza just for me. Normally I ship these in a smaller box since you can, but we're just gonna pack the crap out of this thing. I want it to be able to survive a, I just forgot the scale for earthquakes, a 20 on the Richter scale. It's in God's hands now. Oh yeah, another thing about this lady, she wrote a note that said for me to add the word fragile to the package, so it arrives undamaged to my address. See, that's the kind of thing that there's nothing actually wrong with saying that, but it just shows me you're like a really high-strung person. Like, maybe that's because she thought it was made of porcelain. But the thing is, I don't think you can. I think that's a post office thing. I don't know. All right, Golden Idol. I was just thinking about this guy I used to know that I think he was a competitive bodybuilder. He was sort of a nice enough guy. He could be a little cantankerous. You don't, you know, you're not that guy unless you're kind of aggressive. But I was just thinking about the fact that if you asked that guy what was most important, or what the most important skill to have or attribute to have, probably he would say physical strength. If he didn't make it number one, it would be up there. He highly prized physical strength, let's put it that way. Then I was thinking about somebody else that I was neighbors with, this girl, and I kind of half remember her talking about like how important empathy is, and it just made me think, like, most people kind of see the attributes they have as being like how everybody should be. Like, neither of these people, you know, I almost don't want to say this because it's not like I asked them, but it seems like neither of those people really ever considered the counter case. Like, an excess of empathy can be a really bad thing, and empathy itself can be a bad thing, because, like, most people don't know this, but in East Germany, the Stasi, you know, the secret police, some of the best interrogators and torturers were people that were actually really, really empathetic people. That seems like something that just could not be true, but it is. And the reason is, I think I've said this before, if you can really feel how other people feel and understand their perspective in a really intuitive way, sometimes that's good, but sometimes that helps you torture them better. Like, somebody that's truly not empathetic, you know, kind of doesn't know what's hurting you or what isn't hurting you. Maybe they roughly know, but they're not actually imagining your perspective. But somebody that really tunes into your feedback, that person can torture you a lot better. And I'm not just making this up. Like, I think this was actually studied, you know, after the fall of the Soviet Union. You know, you could say sort of analogous things with the physical strength. I mean, I'm not knocking it at all, but obviously if you're going to be a bodybuilder, that's going to take a lot of time, and it's time that you could have spent doing other things that maybe they're more valuable, maybe they're not. Maybe that really is like the coolest, best thing you can do, and if so, great. I'm not knocking it. But obviously, just physical strength in and of itself, it's like there are situations where somebody being physically strong can be very, very bad. Like, if that person is beating you up. So none of these things are a pure good. And I guess the takeaway here is, if you have an exceptional attribute, it's really, really hot. Don't just fall into that thing of thinking that your attribute is the important thing, because it's like a very normal, natural human tendency that can be very misleading. Like, intelligent people think intelligence is the most important thing. Like I said, athletic people, it's like all they think about and a lot of what they tend to value. There's a reason we all have different gifts and stuff, and you just don't want to think of people in some kind of monolithic, homogenous group. Whoa, we've got a based man right there. You know, another thing that occurs to me, I don't know if this actually was true, but I bet with those Stasi interrogators, another reason the empathetic ones were the best torturers is also because they could probably do the best job of figuring out when the people they're torturing are actually telling the truth. Like if we think, here's how the thought experiment would go. We have a really empathetic person and a really unempathetic person, you know, somebody that cannot see from the other person's perspective. If you're really empathetic, you are more likely to understand when somebody is telling you the truth. You know, at least all things being equal. Obviously, you could know what the facts are and know whether they're telling the truth. Like, you could be asking a question that you already know the answer to. But all things being equal, somebody that's really empathetic is more likely to know when somebody's lying to them, I think, because they can see from their perspective, obviously, by definition. So yeah, that's another reason why the Stasi interrogators that were empathetic probably were the best interrogators. But I don't know that. I didn't read that or anything. But it just seems like it would probably be true. I guess I don't want to give the impression that I think everything is just subjective and everything can be good or bad. It's more like some things really are right and wrong. Some attributes a person can have really are good or bad. But like, man, there's a bunch of traffic. My point would be people shoehorn way too many things into that category of right and wrong. It's not that right and wrong doesn't exist or good and bad doesn't exist. It's that people just have a lot of wrong ideas about what that is. Even something like empathy, which we think of as a pure good, kind of isn't. Just got home and I just noticed no tree. Like, I didn't even notice people taking a tree. We still got the hole. Somebody took a tree out of my front yard and I somehow never even noticed. Like, that was a big hunk of wood. Interesting. We got some sneaky tree takers around here. We're gonna get rolling on some stuff. We painted this pink yesterday, but this took so long to dry that we couldn't do the other layer. But that's what we're gonna do now. Dudes, you are not gonna believe this. Unbelievable. I have to see this with my own eyes. It can't be. How could it be that Filabot is actually doing a good job? Look, the last thing I said to this guy who is one of the founders of the company was something like, well, unless you guys have a couple of prototype extruders that maybe you could take a motor out of, I guess I'm just gonna have to wait. Maybe that's what they did. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Is Filabot a good company again? I feel like this upends my entire worldview. Like, okay, let's look at the facts here. I can't believe this. The guy tells me that they can't ship the motor, and I mentioned that I'm a reliable customer. He lets me talk to one of the founders of the company. The founder of the company is like, well, we can't do it, but I can offer you a deal on a new extruder, which I didn't want to do. And now they're shipping me a motor somehow. Like, this is like the kind of thing a company would do. This is like what I would do. Man, I can't believe this. Now, it's possible they're shipping me an empty box. Maybe they're still screwing me. I'm so paranoid about this because this is just not what Filabot does. But I kind of doubt they would do that. I think they found a gear motor somewhere and decided they were just going to give it to me. Wow. What a saga. Is this a redemption arc? Man, that's crazy. I'm in the middle of taping off the donut, and then I get the notification. Filabot is actually doing what they're supposed to do. Like, I'm just trying to think of an angle, like, how are they screwing me? Maybe they were bad to me before because they just didn't know that I had spent money with them, which is still kind of a crappy thing to do. I don't know. Hopefully it's not a trick, but if they actually send me a gear motor, we're gonna soften our stance on Filabot a little bit. They've been a little bit better lately, and I just have to be fair and say that. Wow. Mind blowing. Literally. This is the company that wouldn't even respond to phone messages. They wouldn't pick up their phone, and they would never respond to emails for years. And now, not only did I talk to a guy, and he messaged me multiple times in a day, they let me talk to one of the founders, and they're doing something that they said they couldn't even do. This is amazing. All right. Well, if they actually ship me the motor, I'm gonna email them and thank them, because you gotta encourage good behavior, not just discourage bad behavior. You gotta have carrot and stick. That's important. But yeah, I am so happy right now, but mostly I'm very bewildered. Okay, it's all taped off. With these donuts, I can't really use plastic because it's just too narrow and thin and wouldn't save any time. But we got all the little edges taped off and stuff. Came out obviously a very nice pink color. All we're gonna do now is just razor this away so we get a nice smooth line. This is really an M3 secret right here. I've never heard of anybody actually doing this. Once you get that done, going all the way around, should pull right off. Yep, look how nice that is. And there you go. After this paint layer, this guy is going off. Very nice donut. I can't stop looking at that email. I can't believe they're sending me a motor. I never in a million years would have bet on that happening. It's almost the most surprising thing that could have happened today. Some days a tree falls on your house. You know, I guess it's logically possible that they printed a label and they're just gonna mail it 3 months from now. I really doubt they did that. That'd be too crappy. That'd be too crappy even for Filibot. Yeah, there's no way they're gonna do that. I think they're actually shipping me my motor. I'm pretty sure they're shipping me my motor. It ain't even about the dough. This is what's happening now. Everyone. Okay, well that guy just ruined my joke. Real nice out today. Oh wow, check this out. Just sold a milkshake and for the first time ever, piece of toast. Very cool. Let's pack up these two guys. And now we're gonna package the Xeno crate. We're gonna be very, very careful as we package the Xeno crate. There we go, product number 2 for the week. And of course, a very nice little shark. Here we've got, of course, white Guitar Octo, or about to be white. We did a couple coats for the orange for the fries, looking like Whataburger fries. I like what they're thinking. We got that color layer done, like I said. It's time to do the yellow on the fries again, because of course, when you do the orange, you get a little bit of orange on the fries, and that is unacceptable. And of course, a very nice Chuck Norris can. Is this the NBC sound? Oh, what a day. Just got a few more big things to make, and then we can start actually churning out new products again. Like I said, I really want to get that hex nut out. Big food order will be done over this weekend. Here you've got all the parts of the burger, the hot dog, just needs to get painted and assembled. Maybe we'll do the big hardware buy tomorrow. Get it all assembled and ship it out Monday. And then we can just clear the board of all the big stuff. We've also got a big spate of sharks. Seems like there's like one of those plural words for sharks. It's not pod. Pod is like dolphins. A whole swarm of sharks, a whole mess of sharks. whatever the correct denominator is for that, we are going to probably get all those ready for Monday as well. Also, the chestnut we're printing, I think they ordered it in bronze, which I'm pretty sure is a color we haven't sold it in before. We've only sold a couple of them. So, you know the drill. We can make that a product also. So that's pretty nice. We've already got our 3 products listed for this, or lined up for this week. We're gonna take pictures of the pink David tomorrow before we ship it out. Next week we'll already have the bronze knight, and hopefully we'll have a printed giant hex nut before that. Join the Discord, link below. Also, I don't plug this enough, but the complete playlist of every single episode in this series sequentially, that playlist is in the description. Sometimes I watch the old episodes. I'm already getting nostalgic about my life from a year ago, but you know, some of you, we'll take a second just to talk about it. F it. You know, it occurs to me part of the fun of this series, and maybe how it's going to help some people, especially over the long run, is you're going to see my actual evolution as an entrepreneur. Like, at the point at which I started this series, we'd already been in business for about 6 years. Actually, it was a year ago, so 5 years. And so it had been going for a long time, but there's a lot of things that I've learned along the way, and documenting this makes it one big story. So, like, if you want to see the evolution and the thought process and the day in just doing, you know, new products and committing to the process and just seeing what that really looks like and getting it soaked in, it actually is worth watching from the beginning. A lot of people have, or at least watching from close to the beginning, seeing the early episodes, something like that. It actually does flesh out this process better if you've seen from a long time. So I do recommend, if that's something that interests you, click on the playlist. You know, I spent a long time putting all the episodes in that playlist too. Anyway, Discord. We always read the comments and questions section first. Added reason to join the Discord. Wayne is pointing out in Prusa Slicer there's an option under infill. It has a thing where you can put a solid layer of infill every so often. Just to respond to his question, yes, that's the first thing I checked. It is kind of a cool feature. I've never had like some reason to do it, but it's a thing you can do. I mean, to be fair, the reason I think they do it is if you have some kind of complex model with a bunch of things that dip in and out, every so often you probably do want to have one layer that's just one big solid piece. Because, like, you'd have to really think about it, but I could see how it'd be useful, basically, is what I'm saying. Ram Goofy, any further updates with Miss Massachusetts? No, not yet. She said she was going to send me some pictures. I might just kind of check in after a month or something like that and just see if we get anything. Like, she may well not even remember that I exist. M. Hussey Rocks, trying to make as much filament, I think, before the machine breaks is like writing as much as you can before you run out of ink. It's a pretty good analogy, but the point there was, like, what else are you going to do? How it's not analogous is a pen doesn't manufacture its own ink. And so if you're using a certain amount of ink every single day, but you're manufacturing quite a bit more than that ink, by the time the ink manufacturer stops working, you will have a big cushion. Whereas if you're actually using a pen, you run out of ink. There's no like reservoir of ink. It's a very tortured analogy, but there is a difference. There was a big discussion about hairspray versus PEI and stuff like that. I never really was like some kind of fundamentalist on the whole build surface discussion. Although I will say I like my build surfaces on the big printers. I don't know if I like them so much that I would actually buy one. I just kind of got them when I bought those printers from other people. It's kind of nice though. I like being able to flex it and it just pops right off. It's a small thing. It doesn't really matter. And the thing that matters is making products so you can ship things to people. But I think I've come around a little bit on build surfaces. I'm not passionate about it, but they're all right. JP Letty, the Filabot saga continues. Oh, you're gonna love this chapter, maybe, if they're actually gonna send it. You would think a small company like that would want to please what customers they do have. Seems like all you can do is just wait. Have a great day, brother. I did, brother. The Reasonable Gentleman, smoke strategy sessions with M3, SSS. Apocalypse Dawn, how does that, they said shark print. Pretty sure that's supposed to be shark. Print the inner mouth in mid-air, LOL, without internal infill, it looks impossible. Oh, it's possible, son. Unk 13 Buck, I think that's a new one. You need to make a giant 10mm socket. It's a huge mechanic meme. That's the one you always lose. Yes, I have a socket set. It is funny how that 10mm socket, you're always looking for it. JT, do you feel the push out of the old place came at a good time? Would you have made the move to the new place without it? Or I think I said old place, whatever. No. I mean, I think it came at it as good a time as any. I'll say this, it didn't come at the worst time. In the middle of Christmas, that would have been a nightmare. Although if the deadline was around Christmas, I probably would have just lied. It's not like anybody actually verified to see whether I moved out in time. Like, I just know that the state doesn't do anything quickly. So it's like, what, they're gonna like, these construction guys and stuff are gonna show up like the day I'm supposed to move out and be like, oh, you gotta blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't think so. But it came at about as good a time as you could ask for, I would say. Let's see, what am I grateful for today? It's a small thing, but it was really nice getting that coffee. Because I'm myself, I timed myself a while back and I figured out it takes almost exactly 10 minutes to get coffee. It's just a nice little 10-minute break out of the day. It's another small thing, but I kind of like this, I like this dynamic of going into Dunkin' Donuts instead of just going through the drive-thru. I kind of get to see the people more and they get to see me on the Segway, which is a little more unique. I don't know, when you're at Dunkin', you're with family. I do have to look at the donuts while I'm in there, and that's a little tough. But yeah, it just felt super good. Super perfect weather out there. It's reminding me of like, oh, that's what fall in Texas feels like. To feel that coming. It's like, oh, we gotta make some soup. Gonna start drinking the hot coffee. The vibe within a vibe within a vibe. But that's what I am grateful for today. Tell me what you are grateful for in the comments and in the comment and questions section of the Discord. Appreciate all the ideas and help and suggestions. Like I said, we're probably going to be getting into a time period when we can release a lot more new products, big stuff. Write in the comments what ideas you have for comically big items. We love to read the comments. I'll probably give you a heart, probably give you an upvote. We drop the goodness every single day. This guy's having a seizure. I will catch you on the next episode. Thanks for taking the journey with me. M3 out. Gratitude gang in. Peace out.
Stay around you. I can't say what I need. This blinding adolescence I'm seeing to standing in a moment. What has been is cast aside, frozen there as time rode. I know that you must have died. Create me something precious. Find me something fleeting. Empty my possessions. Everything that we through the oceans. And we're all going to die. So leave me something precious. Another glimpse of the light. Lions around you. Open up your light. Time to say a Wiedersehen.